Hello, welcome to my channel. It's a beautiful day and I'm in an absolute pig of a mood. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but I've had just a spate of bad health, and as a result, I'm having to take some time off work. Nothing for anyone to worry about. Not going to go into it in detail. But yeah, and there's just all this talk of tariffs, and there's been a lot of cuts announced here in the UK, and I feel like I'm just like sitting here waiting for the news to start reporting on the latest updates from the US, which I don't think is a very healthy way to go about things. So I am basically stressed in body and mind. And I need some proper escapism and just to work on my projects and watch a nice film and not think about anything that's going on. And I need to be very cozy while I'm doing it, because even though the sun is gorgeous today, it's also freezing. So you find me in two different pieces of knitwear. I've got a very snuggly blanket next to me. I've got an even more snuggly dog. And I'm going to watch Jane Austen's Persuasion, the 1997 film. I love Persuasion by Jane Austen. I think even the first time I read it when I was like 15, 16, I was just very connected with an idea of an elderly spinster heroine who now I realized was like 26, which is insane to me. But I mean, I get it for the time. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's basically the story of a couple who were separated. They were in love when they were younger. They were separated. Her family talked her out of marrying him, and now they are thrown back into each other's orbit. So we've got second chance romance, long lost love, edge of forbidden romance. Also, he's come back and is now seen as like a complete stud because he's like made his fortune, is now really wealthy and everything, and obviously is in the prime of his life. Whereas she, pretty much the same age, is seen as just like this little dowd mouse of a woman whose, life has passed her by. And she is very full of regrets about all of the situation. And that's why we find them. That's where the film opens, basically. She is living with a horrible family, full of regrets about the love she didn't take and the adventures she didn't have. And he is about to sweep back into her life, very cross with her still for refusing to marry him when he was like younger and poorer and letting her family influence her. And he is just ready to ignore her and show her the cold shoulder. But are the feelings going to reemerge? It is comfort watching. So that's what I'm going to do. And I've got a project to work on called the Primley cardigan. And I've been working away at it for a while now. And I just feel like something called the Primley cardigan sounds very Austen to me. And I'm at a point with it where I feel that I'm losing motivation with it. Okay, so I've done most of the back. Well, I've done half of the back. Basically what I've done is I've done the fun, exciting bit with the rib and working out how the pattern works. And I've done the fun, exciting bit of decreasing for the arms. And now I'm back to just knitting straight. And I've got slightly less stitches. So now I'm down to like 95 stitches to the back. But this is part of a project where I always tend to run out of steam a little bit because I'm like, okay, but it's just the same thing. And I've got very used to this pattern now. Like I don't need to look at the pattern. I've just memorized it. It's just a 4-line repeat. It's like really nice. It's a kind of like a rice stitch interspersed with panels of garter stitch. So it does look nice, but I know that once I finish the back, which is the most kind of like, I always think of the back of a project is where I kind of get used to the pattern and where I kind of get to my stride and everything. And I know once I come to knitting the front bits and the sleeves, I'm going to be quite motivated and enjoying it again. But for now, I just need to get up to the shoulders, basically. And the film, which is available on YouTube, so you can watch along with me if you want, is 1 hour 49. So I thought what I'd do is I thought I'd check back in with you after half an hour of the film to like let you know the progress. It's literally just going to be more of this brown knitting. There's not really going to be progress, but also to, I haven't watched this film in quite a while and I used to be obsessed with it. So I really want to see it. Does it stand up and everything? And then I'll check back in after another half an hour, and then I'll check back in at the end. And if you want to do one of your projects alongside me, if you too are feeling a little bit bad by life and by the world and stuff, I love the idea that somewhere out there there's someone keeping me company during this. Yeah, you're very welcome to join me in this and work on your own projects. And I don't normally do this mainly because I don't know how many people are out there really watching my videos, but I've recently had a bit of an influx of followers. So if you're working on a project and you want to tell me what that project is at the minute, I would love to hear it. All right, I'm going to put the film on and check back in with you after half an hour. All right, so we're at the half-hour mark, and I forgot how slow moving the start of this is, but also just how much emotion they managed to pack into it. Like, I just feel so bad for Anne. Like, she's clearly just having the world's worst life. Absolutely. I mean, obviously, she's like living in privilege and everything, and like being waited on by servants and stuff. But just in terms of like everyone around her is terrible. They're all just so self-obsessed. So we've got to the point where she's staying with her younger sister, who's the only one of the three girls to have had children, and is, I think, pregnant again, because they keep saying she's indisposed, although it might just be that she's sick. And Mary is just such a fantastic character. I'm going to put the name of the actress up on screen. She was in all the Jane Austen adaptations in the 90s, I think, and I just love her so much. She's so peevish, and she's such a hypochondriac, and watching it while I myself am sick, but feeling a little bit of a fraud for having taken time off work. It's such a kind of like, on the one hand, I'm like, am I Mary Musgrove? Am I this awful invalid who just is like faking illness to get attention and everything? It's so bizarre. But then on the other hand, I'm like, Mary Musgrove is probably doing everything I should do. She's, she's resting at all times. She only stirs herself for a bit of entertainment to go to a party. She's in the middle of arguing with Anne about whether she should, like, Anne should stay with Mary's child who's got sick so Mary can go to a party, even though Mary herself is supposed to be sick. So in the spirit of that, I have added to I've got a second cup of tea on the go, and I've got myself a little cake because I feel like all invalids should have a little cake. And I definitely feel a bit like an invalid today. And poor Anne. Every time I watch this, the actress looks even younger. And I'm just like, oh my God, to just have your whole life written off at the age of 26. It's like, oh, well, there's nothing else for her, really, is there? And just all her in-laws, who seem very nice people, but just kind of constantly chattering away at her. Yeah, I read somewhere that this is the novel that was considered to be the closest to Jane Austen's view of herself and her account of herself, because I think she turned down a proposal when she was younger and then ended up never marrying. And the actress playing her looks quite a lot like Jane Austen, I think. We've not seen Captain Wentworth yet, and I'm so curious because I think he's played by Kieran Hall. When I first watched this, I was like, absolutely get it. Absolutely get why Anne is like pining away. And then since then, I've seen him play John Franklin in The Terror, where once again, he's playing a naval man, but he's a naval man who's just like made terrible decisions and basically led all of his crew into peril and probable death due to his own stupidity. And in my head, I'm like, do they exist in the same timeline? Is this what Captain Wentworth became? Did Captain Wentworth become John Franklin? By the way, if you're looking to go down a very morbid internet wormhole, like definitely reading up on the story behind The Terror and what happened to that expedition and exactly how terrible all of Franklin's decisions were, like I recommend it, but not if you're feeling at all bruised and battered by life. I think that's it for me. How far am I with the project? There is absolutely no noticeable difference. It's just chugging along. I keep getting too complacent with a pattern and thinking I know it and then having to go back. And this project is the first time I've really laddered down. Like in the beginning, I did one of the panels wrong and I actually laddered down like something like 30, 40 stitches just to be able to fix it. And I've had to do that a few times since then during this. And I'm like, just need to concentrate on the pattern, but it's not interesting enough to hold my attention. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get, I'm trying, basically what I want to do is get close to the shoulder. I don't think that's going to happen, but I did just do more work on it than I've done all week. So this is working so far. All right, gonna go back to my little cake and my little tea and my little film. Yeah, might have to put the big light on at some point, but other than that, this is me. Catch up with you again half an hour. All right, an hour in. Randomly, the scene where Louisa fell off the wall and her mum was really upset, like, actually made me cry. Like, I've seen that scene so many times, and I don't know why I got so emotional about it. Maybe it's the music. I feel like the music in these films is so lethal. But overall, massively, massively enjoyed the reappearance of Captain Wentworth. As I worried, the fact that I think it's Kieran, I should look this up. The fact that Kieran Hall did go on to play John Franklin, has slightly tarnished his character for me. Like, I still love him, and I still love the way he plays this role, because I think that the role of Captain Wentworth, when played the wrong way, could just be like such like he was written really well by Jane Austen, but I've seen adaptations of Persuasion since then where it's like, but Wentworth was just was rightfully cross with Anne, and he's never done anything wrong in his life. I think Kieran Hall is so good at playing him as a bit of an arsehole. Like, he's so rude to Anne, and he snubs her, and he's so mean to her. Like, he ostentatiously extends courtesy to the other women that he does not extend to her, and he makes horrible sly comments to her own sister about her appearance. I think definitely I'm just enjoying him slowly softening and like slowly kind of coming around to the idea of like, oh, maybe she wasn't like a villain, and maybe I'm not the wronged hero, and maybe both of us were at a different point in our life when we were younger, and maybe it wouldn't have worked out between us. So yeah, really enjoying that. I think we've got to the point where she has now gone off to Bath to be with her horrible father and her horrible sister, her other horrible sister. And I'm genuinely sorry to say goodbye to the Musgroves. Like, I get that they were the kind of like, they were needed to get her to this point, but I just love an ensemble. I love a Jane Austen ensemble just because of like the types of character you get. But we're in Bath. It's all about to kick off. Wentworth is coming to Bath. He's already softened towards Anne. He's already thinking like, I mean, she at the minute thinks he's going to marry Louise there, but we know different, or at least hopefully none of you are watching it for the first time and then checking in with me. If you are, I'm sorry for spoilers. I should put something in there. I mean, if you are watching it for the first time, what do you think? Yeah, so I think that's where we are. 50 minutes of it left, so I'll do a check back in after that. How am I doing with the knitting? I hear you beg to know. Looks the same as ever. So I measured it, and the armhole is meant to be, I've probably done about like 6-7 rows in half an hour. The armhole is meant to be 19 centimeters, and I've done 9. So if I keep going, I will at least have broken the back of the armhole. Keep messing up the pattern. Did not realize how much I was invested in this film. And I've also just realized that the sun is setting, got a load of laundry on the line, and probably should have something to eat. And once again, channeling Mary Musgrove, I'm going to make myself a very nice little dinner, I think, and like eat while watching the rest of it. So no idea what it's going to be. But yeah, I'm going to channel her and her kind of like pickiness and pettiness about food, and just really get myself something that just suits me. I cannot believe that she is the character I'm most connecting with while watching this. Like, oh man, if you were to say to me before I started watching this, what character do you think you're really going to connect with? I would be like, Captain Wentworth, ridiculously intense at holding grudges, massively hung up on the past, can be very social but also grumpy as fuck. Like, I would have said I was Captain Wentworth, and instead I am Mary Musgrove. Last observation before I go and do all of this, I forgot just how blatant Anne and Wentworth were about each other. Like, there was no subtlety, there was no building up to it. Like, the second his name was mentioned, Anne was basically like stumbling back, clutching her chest. The second he saw her, he's basically just like man of stone, cannot like show any emotion, but obviously kind of freaking out inside. Like, I love that there was like no chill from the very, very beginning with these two. Like, it does feel like if he had, for whatever reason, stayed in the UK and carried on moving in her circles, or like stayed in England, because I don't think the UK was the thing back then, stayed in England and carried on moving in the same circles as her, they would have lasted maybe like 3 months not engaged, and then just got engaged again and run off. Anyway, gonna go and do some life admin, watch the last 50 minutes, and then check back in with you. Film's over. Turns out he's called Kieran Hinds, not Kieran Hall. Also turns out I can still find him attractive. Something about an earnest man. But yeah, even knowing the John Franklin thing was in his future, and to be honest, I do feel like it has slightly tainted this version of Persuasion for me forever. But yeah, love it. Love how much of a little bean Anna is. Just a quiet little bean. Like, she has just got the most romantic love letter in the world, and like the man she loves pouring his heart out, telling her that he's thought of her, that he's never stopped loving her, that like he is hers, and she's just like basically says nothing. And even like, and then he's like confessing his love to her in the street, and she's just standing there like, and I love it because I feel like it's like a different type of heroine than we get from Austen a lot of the time. Obviously her heroines are so kind of like outspoken and quite sure of themselves, even when they do have some doubt. Like, can you imagine Lizzie Bennet just standing there silently during Darcy's proposal? Like, would not happen. But yeah, it's just Angie's getting like professions of love in like multiple formats, and she's just like, and I love that she doesn't like, there's no kind of like redemption arc for her where she kind of like, you see her blossom through the film obviously and come into her own and be a bit more confident, but there's no real point where she like stands up to her horrible family or like, like tells them to fuck off or something. She's just like, just goes off and lives her best life on the high seas, potentially during a war. I feel like I didn't completely get that bit before, but yeah, just enjoyed it. Also, there was a Netflix adaptation of Persuasion a few years ago, and they had this complete, well, at the time felt completely random side thing of cousin Elliot going off with Mrs. Hall, and I was just really like, what is going on? And then watching this film, like, I do not think that was even slightly teased in the book version as far as I remember, but in this film you kind of, it's like, maybe I see this, maybe I ship this, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of smoldering looks between them, and I know it's just meant to be like they're colluding, but you see the potential for it, definitely. Another unexpected thing to come out of this. What about the knitting? I hear you cry. Well, looks exactly as it did when I started this, but I have like got up to 12 centimeters, which means I've only got 7 left. So I've definitely broken the back of the armhole, and I think that it's only going to take another few hours, I think, to get there. Got a lot done in that last like 45 minutes or so, considering I was also like bringing in the laundry and making myself a nice little dinner. Yeah, I did take Mary once again as my inspiration for my nice little dinner. So baked myself a quiche, had some roast asparagus and some steamed broccoli. Even put a little squeeze of lemon on there, like treat myself well. Normally when I'm sick, I'm just like, okay, cool, it's bread and cheese until I feel better again. But no, packing in that iron for the old immune system. Yeah, and it's been a surprisingly nice day considering how crap I've been feeling. So thank you for watching along with me. And I have quite enjoyed doing this. So, like, if you would be interested in seeing one of these again, let me know, or maybe even suggest a film. I'm probably going to start working my way through some of the Merchant Ivory films, like, Room with a View, things like that. But I'm open to suggestions, to be honest. I used to watch loads of films, and now I just don't as much. But yeah, I did also see that there is a knitting shop themed Hallmark romantic film on YouTube, which I quite want to watch, but I didn't feel like I had the energy for it today. Thanks for watching along. Hope your own projects are going well. Like, subscribe, do whatever you want. Bye.